Good day, and I'd like to welcome each and every one of you once again to that of the 1611 King James Bible Study with Brother Tim Beatty. Hope and pray that someone somewhere has seen or heard of a loved one that has given their life unto that of the Lord. Also like to say, if you have a loved one of great need upon that of your heart that you would like to have someone to help you pray about, please leave something down in the comments section. You don't have to explain the situation or the person's name or anything like that, and I would feel it an honor to be able to help you pray concerning your situation. Not only me, but each and every one that reads these comments will, I am sure, would also join in helping you pray for these situations. But again, we do thank you for joining in and watching this. I'm doing this video today primarily concerning the email I got from that of a lady that somehow or another, I don't know how, probably through the video, my Gmail address, whatever, sent me a Gmail concerning the situation that she's going through. And this situation has really made these holidays hard for her to bear, hard to get through because of the situation in which she's in. It's got to do with some conflict between that of her siblings and over some things that took place during the death of her mother and father. I'm not for sure. Didn't get into details. None of my business. But anyway, she had said a few things there that I told her I'd try my best to put a video on and see if anything that I could give her in the Word of God, and I would pray about this matter, would be able to help her maybe to have that of a much better life, a much joyful life during these holidays as she goes through them concerning her matter. I also want to say this. I just found out this morning, I have a brother-in-law, and from what I understand, he's near death's door. I don't know all the situations. I do know he's got leukemia. I believe that's what it is wrong with him, but we just found this out this morning. And we would desire your prayers, helping to pray for this one, especially that of his wife, my sister, and his stepdaughter, and that of his own child. Really pray for this family. They're going to need it. I've known him for some years. I've always found him to be a very kind, gentle man, willing to help anybody any way he can. But I'm sure they would appreciate your prayers in praying for him, because this is a situation which nobody wants to be found in. Having to face something like this, and it's heartbreaking, it's heart-wrenching. So do remember him in prayer. I also want to do a study today on that in the book of the 37th chapter of the book of Genesis. Most of you know it's about the story of Joseph's life and the situation in which he endured concerning that of his siblings. Some of you may be out there. You may have a problem concerning that of a son, a problem concerning that of a daughter, maybe that of a mother, or maybe that of a brother and sister, whatever it may be, that's put a wedge some way, somehow, into your life, where holidays and things just are not the way they once used to be. And you wake up every morning hoping and saying to yourself, maybe this will be the day that things can return back the way they once was. Maybe this will be the month that I can see things restored again the way they should be. Maybe this will be the year you've went and tried and done this or tried to do that, and it seems like the more you tried, you just felt like you was pushed a little bit further away, and the more you kept going to the situation to try to some way fix it. It could have been over a promise you had made that through that of the loved ones that going on to be with the Lord, and you're down to the point, well, should I just apologize for doing everything I done? Never apologize for breaking or making a vow, especially that of a mother or a father, aunt or uncle. You don't want to apologize for something you tried your best to do the way they wanted. things done and then turn around and apologize and making a statement, well, they shouldn't have done it. This wasn't right for the, or defiling the obligation you made under that one. You might have done all you could do, and it just seems like your heart now is beginning to get hardened itself, or a little anger building up. And there comes a time when you need to back away because of the missing you have of that companionship so greatly. You just want to keep on and keep on and keep on. But it comes a time where you yourself begins to get bitter, and when these things starts happening, you're just almost on a for sure way to completely destroy any hopes of everything being restored. And I understand they may be ways that you take and you help them out in ways that they don't even know it's you, but it gives you at least a sense of feeling that you're still able to do a little something for those you love so dearly. And they may not realize or know who's doing it, but you have the peace of mind knowing that you're trying to do whatever you can do for them, even though they don't know it. But you've got some peace about you knowing that the love for them is still there. It's never died. It's never left. And you're desiring so much for things to be restored. We see in Joseph's life that the Bible said that Joseph, being the son of that of Jacob, Jacob was the man whose name was changed to Israel. And out of his sons were born that of the 12 tribes of Israel. The 12 tribes of Israel come out of that, of the sons of Jacob. And that's where we get the 12 tribes of Israel at. Well, there came a time in Joseph's life around the age of 17-year-old that Joseph had begun to dream some dreams. And he dreamed some dreams of some sheaves one day, and how that his sheaves stood up, and how that the other sheaves around about him stood up, and they bowed to his sheaf, this being his brothers. And through this dream that Joseph told caused a lot of bitterness and jealousness to rise up into that of his brothers, thinking, how in the world could you, being the young run or the young man of this whole family, ever expect us, being your elder, bow down to you for anything? Joseph was a very godly man. He tried every way he could possibly do to please that of the Lord and to honor that of his mother and father. He tried to the very best of his ability to do what the Lord expected out of him. Gave great honor unto that of his father and his mother. And then he dreamed another dream, talking about how that of the stars and the moons and things that one day would bow down to him, and him being in the elements there, and all the elements around about would bow down to him, simulating that of his brothers, and his mother and father was put into this dream. And this even angered his dad just a little, and the Bible said that his dad rebuked him for telling this dream because he himself was involved. And the brothers began to state remarks against him, and began to get more hateful toward him, and begin to be more jealous toward him. But the Bible said that his father observed the things he said. He paid attention to what he was saying. And as you know, as the story went along, that there was a time whenever the brothers had went down and they was watching over the sheep, and the father sent Joseph out to check on the brothers and to see how they was doing. And he went and searched for them and couldn't find them. Came upon this man, and this man told him, well, I'd seen them just a little while ago, but they went down into this other land. And here Joseph goes looking in search for that of his brothers that he loved dearly. He thought a lot of that of his family. He cared for his family. But as they seen him coming a far ways off, they began to make plans within themselves what they need to do to get rid of this guy. He ain't nothing but trouble in our life. All he's doing is trying to make trouble to us. He ain't nothing but a tattletale. And they disguised the scheme, and they had dug, there was a big pit there, and they had found a well, and they had cast him down in it, and they was going to kill him, and to take his coat, and to tear it in shreds, and they had killed a lamb there, and they was going to dip his coat into that of blood, and take it to the father, and tell him that a lion had attacked him or killed him, and the elder brother Reuben, did not have no part in this. Didn't have nothing to do with the fact that they was going to kill them, but the Ishmaelites, there was a band of Ishmaelites come by in their camels, and so Reuben had got with them and said, well, let's just sell him into slavery and sell him to them. So that's what they did, and Joseph went on being separated from that of his brothers, and later on was found in the house of Potiphar there, and became very liked by Potiphar. But his wife tried to seduce Joseph, and he wouldn't have no part of that because he loved the Lord, and he would not have no dealings with it. So he run from her presence, and the wife then went and told Potiphar a bunch of lies, how he tried to have his way with her and had Joseph thrown into that of a dungeon. Well, later on, the king, Potiphar, began to have dreams and didn't know what they dreamed, and he searched high and low to find somebody that could tell him of his dream, and the butler, one of them that Joseph later on revealed a dream to, how that there was a butler and a baker, and how that the butler would be delivered up and be able to set free just in a few days, and the baker had a dream, but he was put to death in his dreams, and Joseph told him that he would be put to death. But the butler had remembered how Joseph had interpreted his dream for him, and he told Potiphar that there's a man in the dungeon that's of God. He can interpret this dream for you. So he calls him up, tells him the dreams. He told him the dream about that of stalks of corn that came up, and they was very healthy and had plenty of ears on them. And then he had another dream about some cattle that come up, and they was real thin and not much lean on them at all. And Joseph said the corn represents the 7 years. There were 7 years, stalks of corn came up. Those represented the 7 years of plenty. And the 7 cattle represented the 7 years of famine. So Joseph was able to fix it in a way where they would gather up the first 7 years of the plenty in order to store it up for the 7 years of famine that was going to come this way. And Potiphar eventually made Joseph the overseer, next in command to all that he had. Well, in the end, it came to pass where Joseph's brothers ventured into that of Egypt, because there was famine all across the land, and they had heard that there was food in Egypt. So Jacob sent his sons, a couple of his sons, in there. They brought back some food, and they had found out for sure that there was food there, but they had kept one of the brothers back there. So then eventually they brought the other brothers and the fathers into that of Joseph, and not realizing that they had bowed down to that of their own son and their own brother, and bowed down and seen the dreams that he had at the age of 17-year-old come to pass. But Joseph spent all of these years, no doubt, desiring, maybe this is the day that I get to be with my family one more time. Maybe this will be the day that we're reunited together again, to be a family like we once was, and not go through year by year missing out on all the things we're missing out of, not being able to store up memories, good memories of the siblings being able to do things together. And no doubt Joseph dwelled on this. Joseph loved his brothers. Joseph cared dearly for his brothers. But, you know, in the hearts and the minds of a lot of people, when you've done all you can do, you can go and you can try your best to continue to get in back in the way you once was, but it seems like you just keep getting pushed further and further away until you start getting a little bit of anger yourself building up in you because of the way you're being treated. You don't want that to happen. You don't want to destroy the love that you still have for those loved ones, whether it's a son, a daughter, a mother, a father, whatever. But they are a time when God says that we just must come out from under them, that they may become ashamed. Well, let's look at Joseph's situation. No doubt he loved his father. He desired to see him once again, desired to be with his brothers once again. Went through all of these years, being separated from those he loved and cared for the most, but there was nothing he could do to restore something that he could not help what happened because of their jealousy, because of their pride, because of their anger. They brought this separation upon themselves. You may be in a situation where you've had to be put in charge of an estate or something over your loved ones, and for whatever reason, the loved ones or the siblings or those that remain did not agree with this, and you made a vow unto that of your mother or father or grandfather or whoever it might have been, and you come to the point and said, well, I just need to go and just tell them I'm sorry, I done it, I shouldn't have done it. Don't discredit the promise or the vow you made unto that loved one just to get them to come back. God don't require that of you. God says it's better to never make a vow than to make one and break it. A vow or an obligation you have made in the life of another one is very sacred in the eyes of God. Don't forget that. But let's look at this. There are times and there are people out there that for whatever reason they can't see no wrong within themselves. And I'm not saying that to down anyone. It's just the way that we perceive things sometimes, and we act on the actions and the thoughts that the devil places in our mind. But to come out from under them when you've done all you can do, come out from under them that they one day may become ashamed of themselves. More than that, there comes a time in your life when you need to be patient and wait upon the Lord and see his salvation. God says that. He said, wait upon the Lord and you shall see his salvation. This may be a time in your life God just needs you to back off and wait. You may have to wait a week. You may have to wait a month, a year. I don't know how long you have to wait, but at least all good things comes to those that wait upon the Lord. If you just give it to the Lord and trust in the Lord with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength, even though you still may hope it's tomorrow, waking up hoping it's today, but at least you can trust in the Lord that one day he is able to take and fulfill this desire of your heart back into your life. Trust in that. Hold on to that. Remember, we see in the Word of God, the Bible said in Psalms 5:11 says, but let all those that put their trust in thee rejoice. Let them ever shout for joy, because their defendants deferrest them, lest them also that love thy name be joyful in thee. Rejoice in the Lord. Claim the promises of God, and get to the point in your own life to say that I've done all I can do. I've done everything I know to do. And for me to try to go any further and to feel rejected again or feel pushed away again is doing nothing but may one day cause me to get in a shape where this could never be restored. I'm going to now just lay it down in the hands of the Lord. I'm going to have hope in God that God told me, all ye that are burdened and heavy laden, take my yoke upon you, for I shall give you rest. My yoke is, his burden is easy, and he'll give you rest. God said that all good things come to them that wait upon the Lord. Trust in this. God is a man of restoring. He's not there to tear down except it be the bad things in life. He's there to build up. And you need to trust God that one day He will put back the very thing you desire and love so dear and precious in your life, that there's a day coming. There may be some things you're just going to have to back away from, get away from. But when you do, give it to the Lord and trust in God that these things, I may not be able to do nothing about. But if I can just have the patience I need to wait upon the Lord, God is faithful and just to be able to perform that which He promised. And He said it's His desire that we prosper and be in good health as our soul prospers. He wants us to prosper in the things concerning our family. He wants us to prosper in that of the things concerning the loved ones, the neighbors, whatever you may be involved into in this life. He wants it to be prosperous to us. But if we're not careful, that very thing that we desire to prosper in our life, we're liable to tear it down or destroy it if we ain't careful. There comes a time when you have to say, Lord, here it is. It's yours. I'm taking you at your word. I'm trusting you that one day, that you're going to open up the windows of heaven and pour a blessing out on me that I cannot even contain it. One day, I'm going to see my siblings drop right down here beside me, and we're going to be as though we once was. My daughter dropped down beside me, and we're going to be as we once was. My son, my mother, my father, whatever, you're going to restore this in my life. I know it's a hard thing to go through life, feeling pushed out, an outcast, however you want to call it. And you cannot understand for the life of you how it could have even happened. Especially if you was just doing something that you know in your heart was right. And you had no trouble with doing it because you could see no way in the world for it to be a trouble with anybody else for you doing it. And knowing that they entrusted and they thought enough of you to believe you'd do the right thing. And then things just gets turned upside down. You don't know why, you don't know what for, and you cannot believe the very thing that's happening. Things like that happens. And it hurts. It goes beyond the core of hurt, because you have to endure it so much through the day. But let me tell you something. There's no way you, me, anybody out here in the world can change the mind of making anybody do nothing except God. Unless God Himself does it, it's not going to get done. They've got to come to the realization to say, hey, is it really worth allowing all of these things to just go past and destroy and never allow any good things to happen in our life because the way we are? Some people has a very hard time admitting they're wrong. Some do. They really do. Not everybody's the same, but you've got to understand. You've got to be patient with these people. A lot of things may be harder for you in life than what they are for someone else. You may fully understand your situation, but you can't for the life of nothing to understand theirs. Well, it's not meant for you to understand theirs because they have their life to live. But you've got to realize that if one day they do come to you and say, listen, I didn't see the whole story clearly. I didn't take time to sit down and really look at the whole picture. And the way I acted and things I done, I was wrong. And I asked you to forgive me. Let me tell you something. I don't care how much you've been hurt. I don't care how much they put you through. You open them arms wide and you forgive them from your heart, not your head, but your heart. And you let them know that you've always loved them. You've never quit loving them. And you don't know how long it's been since I wanted to say, I accept your apology. And I asked God to forgive you whenever I couldn't understand what it was all about. Because if you're not willing to do that, with great love in your heart, that which God's bringing back, you're fixing to completely throw it out the window. So be willing with a joyful heart to fully forgive and to receive them back. Some people, it takes so much longer because of the mindset they might have been in at the time. You just don't never know. No one person's the same. The Bible said we're not to lean to our own understandings. We need to lean to the understandings of God, because He knows the heart and the mind of each and every one of us, and He knows exactly how to take and work in the heart and the minds of each and every one that's out there. But when He works perfectly. There's so many times we listen to the devil and let the devil destroy the things in our life and don't even realize what we're doing until the damage is done and over. But thank God, God knows how to restore that which the devil has tore up or tore down. Thank God, He knows how to rebuild and build back up. That's what God's good at. God said that you ask whatever your heart's desire concerning something that I'd be okay with. He said, you ask, and I'll give you your heart's desire. But you got to be willing to wait upon Him. You got to be willing to trust Him. You've got to be willing to just say, well, I know now that there's nothing I can do. So I am going to wait on God, the one that I know can do all things. With me, this is an impossible situation. But with God, that's where He does His best work, because there's nothing that is impossible for God except for Him to lie, and He cannot do that. He cannot lie. He'll go with you even unto the end of the world. Every day that you wake up and you're thinking this may be the day that we're all back together, you realize it ain't. God's still right there. Hold on just a little longer. That very thing you desire, every morning you wake up, one day you're going to wake up and you're going to see it all around you. For I'll open up the windows and I'll pour that blessing down upon you. And there'll be so much joy your heart can't even contain it. You know, we sometimes have to get to the point to say, Lord, I know if this ever gets worked out, it's going to have to be by you. Because I know for me to continue on, things will eventually get worse. And besides, there's things that you do in your life, even though they don't know it and realize where it's coming from, there's things you can do in your life to still help them out along life's journey. And by being able to do that, at least you've got it in your heart to say, I'm so thankful God allowed me to be able to do this. They might not know nothing about it or where it come from or how it happened or how it got there. But at least you and the Lord does, and it gives you something you can have comfort in. Have comfort in. Many ways you may be able to still help them out. But you might not be able to let them know nothing about it, because you're afraid you may just kind of get shoved back again, or a little bit of a cold shoulder, or whatever it may be. But this way it gives you some joy and peace to know that you're still able to do a little something for them, because of something might have happened and you might have heard about it or whatever, and you was able to do a little something, even though they don't know nothing about it. It's God's way of giving you a little something to do to fill you up with just a little bit more joy. A little bit more joy. And to give your hope, get your hope just a little bit more higher in what God's one day going to do. They might not be with you this Christmas or these holidays. They may never get a chance to be with you ever again, because I don't see this old world standing much longer until that of the coming of the Lord. Oh, it's right here on us. As much of the prophecies of the Word of God I've studied out through my time, through my years. Oh, if people only knew what was pointing in our direction right now and how closely that's fixing to happen, there's no doubt in my mind people, a lot of people, would be praying a lot more earnest, trying to mend that which is broken. They'd be trying to get things done and settled up with God so fast it'll be unreal. But the Lord is just right now ready to step back out on the scene. He's nigh, my friend, even at the door. But listen, if we don't have another year, maybe by the grace of God, we'll all be together in heaven. I know many will not be there. I know this. There'll be many ones out there got things in their life they've never went and taken care of. They've never took care of them. I realize that. But at least while we've got breath, we've got hope that one day they will, before that great and dreadful day of the coming of the Lord. And they'll escape these words: "Depart from me, you workers of iniquity, for I never knew you," but may be able to be received with welcome into the joys of the Lord. Let's hang on to the blessed promises God gave us. Let's hang on to the blessed hope that He's instilled in us. That one day, that which is broken and tore all down, that we don't see no way it can even be restored, that we know through God, He can restore it. I've done all I can do, and there's nothing else I really can do. I've took this step, I've took that step, but nothing's really helped. Don't never look at something and see that there's no hope left. Look at God and see that through Him, all things are possible. All things are possible. God says for those that love Him, that He would comfort that of our feeble hearts. He'll comfort us while we're enduring this time of waiting upon the work which He may perform concerning the situation we're in. Let's draw comfort from that of God. Let's be willing to say, Lord, I give it all to You. And that's a hard thing to do. And I'm not going to say and tell you, you'll sit here and not have to worry about waking up in the morning and thinking, well, maybe this is the day. You may do that. But by giving it all to God, you can at least say, Lord, well, it wasn't today, but I've still got You. And as long as I've still got You, I've still got the hopes that that day's coming. And I can lean on that, and I can rest in that, Lord, to know that You're fixing to bring that blessed daughter back. You're fixing to bring that son back, them siblings back, that mother back, that father back. You're fixing to do it, Lord. I don't know when, but I trust in You enough to know that You're able to do it. The things I can't do are very simple things for You to accomplish, and I realize that. Even though You've had to come out from under them, at least, You didn't have to forsake them. You've got hopes that one day it can be restored. And I want to say this. I want to read this Bible verse. It says in Psalmist David writing, it says, trust in the Lord and do good. So shalt thou dwell in the Lord. And verily thou shalt be fed. God will feed you with comforting words throughout the day while you're waiting on this situation to get healed. while you're waiting for Him to move upon this situation, He'll strengthen you. Trust in Him and do good, so that thou shalt dwell in thy land. He'll give you rest and He'll give you peace. He says, "Oh, taste and see that the Lord is good." Blessed is the man that put his trust in Him. You want that blessing you're waiting on? Well, then fully trust Him. Trust Him that it's going to happen. And you can be assured, somehow, some way, God will make it possible in your life. God will make it possible. If not down here, maybe by the grace of God up there. And just think, if it does happen up there, it'll be for an eternity, a never-ending day. But let's desire that they make things right. And if they do, and they come to you, and they ask the forgiveness, and they come to the point in their mind to say that, I don't even know why I said what I did. I don't even know why I did the things I did. I don't know why. You forgive them with the most loving hug you can give them. And let them themselves know that from this time on, let's give it another thought. Let's never again think of the matter. It's gone, it's vanished. Let's just hold on to now and build on to now what we've got, till we can fully one day restore our lives the way they once was, through and by that of the grace of God. I hope and pray this has been a blessing. This has been a help to that one and the others out there. Some way, somehow, that may help you to get through these holidays just a little bit easier for the things that are not in your life. You desire so badly to be there with you through these times. But it's give you hope that one day it'll be. It'll be. And I truly hope it's been a blessing, been a help to you in some way through that and by that of the Word of God. Look at Joseph. He endured a lot of waiting. But through it every bit, one thing he didn't do, he did not stop trusting in the Lord. And by not doing that, some many years down the road, it was restored back unto him, the family he loved, the siblings that he loved being around and playing games with, or whatever they did together. Many years missed, but now they can begin to rebuild precious memories in their life. Precious memories. Have a forgiving heart. And let's wait upon the Lord until God can work on people the way He needs to, and to help them to realize things before it's everlasting too late. You know, God can do that. We've just got to be willing to be patient enough. And believe me, that's a hard thing to do. Boy, that's a hard thing to do. But through God, we can all do it. And please do remember that of my brother-in-law. You lift his family up in prayers, please. I beg you to lift them up, because they're really going to need God by their side during these times. And if there's anyone or anything you're desiring in your heart that you've just reached the end of your ropes on, would you please just leave us a comment section, and let us also join you in these prayers, and together let's realize that it's never too late. It's never too late. And those others that reads it, they'll join in too. And before you know it, you'll have a whole band of brothers and sisters joining in with you concerning this request. But until next time, God bless and stay safe. And it'd be good to go back sometime and read the 37th chapter of the book of Genesis concerning the life story of that of Joseph, and see how blessed that you can get through what God did that looked to be an impossible situation. God brought the possible into light. Take care and stay safe.